Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge. Today is day 53. 53 days of yoga. Here we go. We're going to do our yoga for today. Please check my website here for just help keeping safe and all other related issues, videos and stuff. And make sure you've got a mat, and do subscribe on YouTube if you want to get updates of when these videos come live, because sometimes they're taking a long time to upload. Okay, so we're going to start by coming into bridge pose. So if you want to bring yourself onto your back, so you're just going to lie yourself down comfortably so that your feet are settled in towards the floor, not absolutely jammed in towards your hips, but just close in so it's nice and comfortable. Shoulders a little bit wide, so you lift your shoulders up, settle them wide, let your hands come soft onto the floor. You're going to let your head rest up to the centre, and then you're just going to start to sway your knees slightly from one side to the other side. So it's just a very, very gentle movement, so you're just noticing how your back feels as you do this. And then you're going to bring your knees to the centre, and you're going to take your hands onto your knees so you can draw your knees towards you and away from you. And again, just a little movement so that the back of the body stays quite relaxed the whole way through. And then you're going to let your feet settle down and onto the floor. And we're just going to do a breath or two where we're letting the waist come high off the floor. So you can take your hands onto your tummy if you want some feedback of what's happening. So you're going to lift your back off the floor, or your back of your waist off the floor, so we're doming up. And then you're going to lift up through the pelvic floor, down through the tummy, and down through the back of the waist. So you find the floor with the back of your waist. And then lengthen out again. So get that feeling of space through the back of the waist and let the body arch up a little bit. And then lift through the pelvic floor, draw back through the tummy and down through the waist. And one last time. And just see if you can breathe evenly as you do this. And then let yourself come to just neutral. You're going to take your hands down beside your feet. You're going to press into your feet to lift up to your hips, so you come towards bridge pose. It could be that your hips just lift a little, it could be a stronger lift, just go with what feels right. And then uncurl your hips, settle them all the way back down to the ground. What we're going to have the option of doing this evening, this morning, whatever time of day it is bringing your feet in closer towards you once you're in bridge pose. And it's just if your back and the whole of the rest of your body thinks it feels good. You're going to lift your hips to come up and into bridge pose, and then you're going to think about walking your feet slightly in towards your hands so that you can let your hands make contact in some way with your heels. And then you're going to press into your feet to draw your knees more backwards and your shoulders up and the back of your waist up. Take a breath, and then slide your hips down, lengthen the back out, send your feet a little bit further away from you again, and just take a moment where you're just breathing evenly. And then we're going to do that one more time if it feels good. Hands are down beside the sides of your body. You're going to lift up to come into bridge pose. Get a feeling of softening the shoulders wide so that we get that feeling of contact towards the tops of the shoulders. And then choosing whether or not you want to walk your feet back a little bit so that your hands make contact. Making sure that the back of your neck stays nice and long and that you're breathing at the front and your throat is still relaxed. And then slide your hips down, settle them all the way onto the ground, and let your feet come back to that neutral position. We're going to come up to standing now, so if you want to roll yourself over and onto one side. And then we're going to come up to a forward bend for a moment, so you're just going to lift up through the hips. A little bit of softness through the knees, keep the back of the body happy, and then bend through your knees, lift up through the pelvic floor, up through the tummy, bring yourself all the way up to standing, and hands come back to your heart. And then we're going to do a standing pose. So if you want to bring yourself to a place where you've got space around you, make sure that you've got your mat with you. I'm going to make that come up a little bit higher. So from here you can take a little step or you can take a great big step, but you're going to take a step enough so that you've got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and both feet are facing straight forwards. So the back toes often will face out a little bit. Think about them facing the hips and the feet facing round towards the front. Front knee is going to bend, so we get a feeling of sinking down a little bit through this front leg. Back leg stays strong. Hands are coming out towards shoulder height. Shoulders soften and widen down. And then you're going to imagine that you're making an arc over your head, and it's going to be with the hand that's on the same side as the back leg. So that hand is going to start to arc up all the way out, and you're going to open slightly away from that front knee. Soften down to the shoulders, and then take your hand back up, all the way back to where we started, and take a step forwards. So back to settled feet. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So leg is going to step forwards, sink down through the front knee. It can be that you're lower down, it can be that you're very high. It's absolutely fine, just wherever your body wants to be just now. Hands are coming out in front, shoulders release down. So we're softened through the shoulders. Back leg is squeezing back, both feet are facing forwards. Hand on the same side of the back leg is going to arc up all the way out and gently open towards the back leg. Soften the shoulders. And then come up through the back hand all the way back and to the centre. And back to standing. So back to that feeling of settling the weight slightly into the heels, slightly into the back of the waist, and lengthen up through the tummy and underneath the diaphragm. We're going to do one more on each side. So you're going to take that comfortable step forwards, hands come out in front, shoulders release down. Hand on the same side as the back leg comes all the way up, all the way over. You can see there can be a little movement of the hips. If that happens, just thinking about slightly softening through the back leg, back toes coming out if it feels better. Back hand is going to come all the way up and over, round towards the front. Make sure both feet are facing forwards before you step yourself back and to even. And then we're going to come to the opposite side. So nice step forward, legs settled, extend the knees out and away a little bit. Hands come up to shoulder height, shoulders sink down. Hand on the same side of the back leg is going to come up and over. And we gently open out towards the back hand. Keep nice and steady through the front leg. And then back hand is going to come all the way up and over. And back to standing. So back to that settled feet, relaxed shoulders. We're going to come down to sitting now, so if you want to bring yourself so that you have got space out in front of you. So from here we're going to do a variation of Janu Sirsasana, which just means one leg straight and one leg bent. But we're going to take one leg and cross it onto your own leg so that it's nice and wide and the knee just does whatever it wants to do. And then you're going to let your hips lift up from here. What we want to do is this front foot wants to be growing up towards the ceiling a little bit, and this foot here, the crossed over leg, also wants to be more or less at 90 degrees through the ankle and the foot. So we're not really pointing or doing anything too strange, just a fairly neutral angle over that front foot and ankle. From here you're just going to let your hand rest onto your leg. So it might be that you want your hand on your heel. It might be that you want to rest your hand onto your elbow. What's really important is we've got a nice long spine, so right the way through the centre, and that we're not kind of leaning forwards or leaning back. So that even subtly we're trying to make our spine really well stacked one on top of the other, so that we can then spiral around and into the open space. So it's a little lift under the rib cage, So we get that lengthening up feeling, and then we can come round. And then bring yourself back and to the centre. You're going to have your hands on your legs and you're just going to do a little lean forwards over one leg. So this underneath leg can be bent or very bent. It's just a little lean forward just to get a nice stretch out through that leg. And then you're going to bring yourself back to the centre. And we're going to come over to the other side. So the other leg is going to step on top, so it's just crossing wide onto the thigh. The ankle is a nice 90 degrees-ish sort of position. You've got that little lengthening up activity through the front foot. You're either going to have your hand on your knee, on your heel, or on the shin, just resting onto your shin. And then you're going to bring yourself round and into the open space. So up through the tummy area, and then spiral round and soften through the shoulders. Bringing yourself back towards the centre, and a little fold forward, so it's a tiny little fold forward because you've got your thigh in the way, so don't come too far. Just make it feel nice. And then bringing yourself up, and we're going to come to sitting. So if you just want to find a comfortable place to sit for you, and we're going to do those little tiny breaths in. Easy breath out, and again. Do less if you need to. And one last one, a little bit slower. Nice relaxed breath. Notice how this moment is. So my little challenge is a slightly tricky little challenge, possibly, if you've not done this before. And that is to think of somebody who you feel has hurt you, and to think of what that has also given you. So something that you can be grateful for, maybe 3 things that you think, well, yes, that happened and that was bad, but that also gave me that, or it helped me find that, and that. So that we become aware of nothing being all bad or all good, so that there's that kind of balance of awareness. So that's my challenge. If you want it, you don't have to take it. My quote for you today: the more you understand yourself, the more silence there is, the healthier you are. So this is from Maxime Lagasse, and he does brilliant quotes. I think he's something like a basketball player, but he's got fabby quotes. I love them. The more you understand yourself, the more silence there is, and the healthier you are. I hope you have a good day. And I'm just all of a sudden thinking, maybe there's 2 Maxime Lagasses. So maybe when I look up Maxime Lagasse, I'm saying a basketball player, but maybe there's an old, I don't know. That's my job today, isn't it? Who is Maxime Lagasse? Okay, end. Thank you. Have a good day. You're just a chatty bug.